Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Wildflower Bulls YouTube channel. I'm Louise from Wildflower Bull, and it is cast on day, everybody. I hope everybody's had a great start to their Monday. And as always, we're going to talk about the yarn that you were voting for. And there was a second vote if you were over on Instagram stories. So we'll talk about that. That was about the stitch pattern. And I have a finish to show you all. I have a finish. I have we can chat about last week's new start, and I have updates on a couple more projects. So everybody grab your knitting, get settled in with a drink, get nice and comfy. We're going to chat for an hour. Hi, everybody. Oh, I saw Jocelyn just popped in here. Jocelyn was at a fiber festival on the weekend, and I was as well. I have a couple skeins of new yarn to show you. So, but before we talk about all that, let's talk about what this week's new cast on is going to be. This is yarn that I dyed for the Fiber Friends challenge back in August. So it's only been dyed for a couple of weeks. They're both worsted weight, superwash, merino. And the colors. Let's see. This one here is shades of blue. It was don't have a tag on this one. It was dyed with turquoise and then a bright blue over top. This one here was a turquoise and teal. So what I had you voting for was blue or teal. And it looked super, super close on Instagram stories. If you voted there and you could see what the percentages was, it was very close. The end vote did not end up very close with because there's three places you can vote. You can vote on Instagram, you can vote here on YouTube, and you can vote on Instagram. Did I say that right? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Three places. And like always, some platforms, the votes are different than on others for some odd reason. So the project is going to be a hat. So we'll chat about that too. Let me see. We always have right around 90-ish votes. I think there was about 93 votes this Monday, and 66% and 34%. That adds up to 100, doesn't it? I get my weekly dose of math in here. So 66% of the votes was for the winner. And it might not be the one you thought. Let's see. If I think back to first thing this morning, Blue was in the lead. Blue was in the lead on Instagram stories in the poll, but I kept seeing lots of messages pop up on my phone. People were saying teal, always teal, 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 teal. But then everybody was voting blue on Instagram. So what is that, Ray? Did everybody have a chance to vote? Let's hear in the chat. So let's hear. I see Alyssa's here. Liz, Jocelyn, Cindy, Amanda, Alice, Linnell, Kim. Oh, Tanya. Anne, did I say hi to you already, Anne? And Mary. Oh, Tanya says that is my favorite color, blue. Blue is my daughter's favorite color as well. Very, very pretty. I like how both of these turned out. The pink, I'll show you the pink in a minute. I did another one of these that is two-tone turquoise. So it'll come up in the voting at some point down the road, I'm sure. Hi, Sally. Oh, Sally says team teal. I know there is people had definite opinions here on what colors they definitely liked. Okay, so I will tell you without dragging it out super, super long. I will let you know. So the winning yarn, what did I say? It's had 66 votes. 66% of the votes this week. Liz says I like both, but like the teal. I have to. I like them both too, and I can't wait to see how they net up. So with 66% of the votes, this week's cast on for a hat is, insert your own drum roll here. Okay, make sure I get the right one. That would be hilarious if I said one and held up the other. Liz is giving me a drum roll. Okay, the yarn I'm casting on for hat this week is the teal. So you guys really surprised me because when I posted these after I had dyed them, everybody was commenting, "Teal, teal, teal. I love the teal. I love the teal. Oh my goodness, the teal is amazing." And I had it with the 3. I had the teal, the turquoise, the blue, and everybody was saying, "Oh, they all look good, but I love the teal." So I thought, "Okay, this is going to be like a runaway vote when I put the teal up against, either one of the other ones." And it wasn't to start with. Blue was getting all the votes. I'm like, just when you think you know, or you can predict an answer on the internet, you can't. But in the end, teal did win out. So I cannot wait to see how this knits up. As you can see, there's a lot of there's light spots, there's medium, and there's super dark. So I am excited. So I will wind this up and I will cast it on tonight or tomorrow. I'm guessing I'm gonna see what I can find for a 16-inch circular needle. And then I guess I'll have to find some DPNs one night to do the top. But either a 4.5 or a 5 for the body of the hat, and probably a 4 millimeter for the ribbing. So I'm gonna have to do a little looking for some needles. But anyway, it's gonna be fun. So I had put on Instagram stories. So you guys know you can vote in all the places. So if you're really, really adamant that you really want something to win, you can go vote for it everywhere. You can kind of help stack the votes in your favor. And so if you were on Instagram stories this morning, you would see that there was the original poll for what color to choose from. And then the next slide was, what stitch should I do? Should I do just plain stockinette, just let the yarn look nice and pretty and just round and round and round knit? Super simple, easy, quick, hopefully a quick finish. Or should I do seed stitch? I know some of you don't like seed stitch, and because it is basically ribbing, it's knit pearls. um I love doing seed stitch. I have no problem knitting it, and I absolutely love how it looks. Um, Funny, you know what I was thinking? I just typed seed stitch, but in my head, I was already formulating a plan because I was hoping that that's what you were all vote for, and you did. And again, it was about 62% of the votes were for seed stitch. So to have some texture. So even even though there's a lot of color going on here, I think with seed stitch, you'll see that texture in all of these color changes, as long as I don't get this all tangled as I play with it. But Mary's asking, do I have a pattern? No. I'm just going to just make up a pattern, do some seed stitch, and that'll be that. That'll be that. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this should be a finish for next week. If I don't get, um, distracted by baby knits. This is what I could get distracted by, but I'm gonna try to stay focused. Oh, Sally said you didn't see the pull for the stitches. Oh, you say seed stitch. Yep. I see. I'm glad. I'm really glad. I would have been happy with either, just to do knit round and round and round would have been fine too. But I was kind of I was hoping for seed stitch, and that's what was voted for. So that's exciting. Um, so yeah, this is what this is going to be. This week's project. I'm super excited to dye. Knit was something that I dyed, and it's only been dyed up for a few weeks, so it's not even going to sit in my stash. And I think this will be something that I probably keep for myself. We'll wait and see. I think so, though. I think so. So the blue will go back into the stash with the turquoise, and they probably will eventually be made into hats as well. Amanda, do I have a name for my colorway? I don't yet. I don't. That is something that'll come. Don't say the F word. I know you guys, you all know I should really learn, right? I always get all excited and think, yes, I can finish because I should be able to finish. and and then I don't. And then I come back here and be like, "Oh my gosh, why did I say that?" But, I'm ever hopeful that I will become more of a finisher. And, oh, yes. So, at least yes, when we say the F word around here, it stands for finish because they're very elusive sometimes. Sometimes it takes me a while to get a finish. Anyways, I do have a finish. Shall I just go right ahead and show you the finish? So look at this. Oh my goodness. I could just look at this all the time and not even knit it. But we're going to knit it and I'm going to wear it. Hopefully not for a little while into November, I'm hoping. I'm hoping we get a nice fall and we don't need hats anytime soon. Fingers crossed. All right, everybody. So this was my cast on 2 weeks ago, I think. The pattern for this is 198, 198 yards of heaven. It is finished. It's not blocked, and I don't have tails woven, but the knitting is done and it is cast off. So that is close to a finish. That counts as a finish in my book. So I definitely am going to have to block this because it is not super, super big, but I guess that is the whole idea of, so the idea around this 198 yards is you can use one skein of worsted weight yarn. They had mentioned in the pattern on the patterns of is free on Ravelry if you would like to put it in your library or knit it. The whole idea is that you can use one ball of worsted weight yarn, but I would say have 2 balls. I would say have 2 balls. 1 ball, I didn't quite get this knit with 1 ball. I had this was stuff in my stash. The first ball I pulled out was 95 grams, and I got it all the way into the first couple of rows here of the border. I started a row or 2. I don't know, there's a point somewhere down here. And I ran out. So I grabbed another ball and I had another part ball and I didn't weigh it, but it was probably about half a ball, like maybe 50 grams. And you know what? I ended up using quite a bit of that because as you're knitting this border here, that used up quite a bit of yarn because you're still increasing and the rows were still getting longer. So you still used more yarn. So I would say a ball and a half. So have 2 balls on hand. And the pattern does say block aggressively, which I think I definitely will need to do. I feel like I really want to block this aggressively because if I want to be able to wear it, yeah, I'm going to have to really pull it to get some extra width here so the ends can tuck under. But I think it'll just be big enough. The depth wise is fine because really it's a one skein scarf, really, right? So it's like a cowl. So I think that's fine. Just all um, cozy around here. Can't even see the lace. Did I even put it on the right way out? Yes, I did. Um, so you can't even see the lace once you're actually wearing it, unless you really did want to wear it kind of like this. I don't know if it would be big enough. Whoops. To go over your shoulders? Maybe almost. Almost. Not quite. I had thought about just doing some more repeats of the lace, but I was getting short on yarn again, even with that part ball. But, if I blocked it out and put like a shawl pin or something on here, it could there. It might work for that too. It's a cowl. Yes. I use my shawl as a cowl for the Arctic freeze. Okay. Oh, it looks good for modesty for church. There you go. Yep. So, it works. It covers your shoulders and it's done. It was really, really fun to knit. I really enjoyed doing the lace. I do like knitting lace and I haven't done any for a while. So it was I found the pattern fairly easy. I knit from the written out, which is odd for me because typically I'm a diehard chart knitter and always encourage people to knit from the chart because usually it's easier. But I don't know, for some reason on this, I was knitting it off my phone and I just found the written out was um was easier because the repeat was only it's not very many stitches. It was only this long. So it wasn't like you had to repeat, like read a whole row or two, because that gets hard looking at your yarn, looking at the written and back and forth, and it's easy to lose your spot. But this was actually, I mean, even when I got down here to the larger rows, the repeat was only 11 stitches. So you could look at the written and look down at your knitting and back, and I didn't mess it up. So no, there was a couple spots where I had a stitch off, between my stitch markers because I did put stitch markers between all the repeats, and sometimes my stitch marker just got moved a stitch here or there. There was once or twice that I think I'd forgotten. Ooh, can you see? Was there a yarn? I think I had forgotten a yarn over somewhere, but I think I picked the yarn over up. So it was helpful for me to be able to read my stitches, so I knew where I was missing what kind of stitch, and I could put it in and I could fix it on the next row. But that only happened, I think, twice. So overall, it was a fairly easy lace pattern. And the size is not bad. For one skein with the lace to be able to stretch it out, um, I think it will be wearable. I think it is. It will be. It'll be fine as I sit here and stretch. So because as you stretch widthwise, you're going to make it a little shorter depthwise because that yarn's got to come from somewhere. But it's the depth is fine for a cowl slash scarf slash shawlette, whatever wording you want to use. So anyways, it's done. I can mark it off on my whiteboard as being finished. I used 5.5 millimeter needles. This was knit with Patton's Classic Wool, so it's a worsted weight. It's 100% wool, so it'll have to be hand washed. And I've got a 5.5 millimeter needle free and ready to use on something. So that should dictate what my next project is. It should be yarn that I can use a 5.5 millimeter needle on, unless I get something else finished this week. I worked on a couple of other little things. I was supposed to get a pair of socks finished. I know some of you watched Jocelyn and I on Thursday night. I didn't get a pair of socks done. One of these times, I will get my act together with socks. But I did work a fair amount on it and I did get the leg done. I can't remember exactly where I was. I didn't have a stitch marker in here. I have a drop stitch, you guys. Oh, no. Okay. Well, way back here on the leg. So here's what I have done. I have a heel. I have a heel turn. I think I have almost all my decreases done, but look at right here. Can you even see that? I didn't even see that. Look, right there. There's a hole because there is a stitch. So that's okay. It looks like it's unraveled 3 rows, maybe. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to play around with this. I'm going to let it sit here very gently so I don't um, have it unravel anymore. That's exactly, yes, Sally and Cindy, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I think what I'm going to do is just grab another one of these stitch markers that open and or a safety pin, whatever I can find. And I will just pick up that loose stitch just so it doesn't unravel anymore. And then I will just take a piece of this yarn and run it through that stitch, and then just on the inside of the sock, just weave in the ends, and that'll hold that stitch down. But what I will do is I'll pick up a couple of the strands that are there. Um, I'll just pick it up those couple of rows, and then I will just sew it down. So it's not the end of the world, but it's something that I really didn't need to have to do either when I'm trying to get these things finished. I don't know. It'll probably sit for a while because it's almost time to start Christmas socks and get out Christmas yarn. Not quite, because we have to do all the Halloween and the fallish things. And this is perfect yarn for fall. So maybe I won't put it away just yet. Maybe I will get some more knitting done on it. Oh no, Liz just messed up her heel turn. Is it like I haven't done one of these? I know, right? It is. Things happen. Things happen. Okay, the other project that I worked on was I got a start on the next piece of the little baby poncho that I'm making. So I saw my granddaughter on the weekend and I kind of held this up to her. I I couldn't find a poncho pattern, the style that I wanted in the right size. So I kind of just did some looking around, kind of found a couple of patterns, guessed on the stitch count, and and started knitting. So this is what I've come up with. So this will be kind of the one half, and then this one here will sew on here and go around and sew on here. And then I think I will put a fringe on, I think, as long as I have enough yarn. Hopefully I'll have enough left. So this is the pink that I dyed earlier in August. It's a pink and a red. So it's really nice. It's super soft. It's a super wash again. So it'll be able to be washed. So I'm going to try and finish this up as well for this weekend because it is getting coolish. So a poncho would be a good fall project, right? A good, garment to actually wear this fall. I have a feeling it's going to be quite big on her, but that's okay. Even if she's not walking, so it can come down to past her knees or whatever, and it'll be fine. And then maybe it'll even still fit her in the spring. If not, I can just make her another one. At least this way I'll have a bit of an idea of size-wise how big I need to make it. So plus I only had one ball, so I couldn't make this really a whole lot bigger. So I think it'll be perfect for something that she can just wear right shortly. Um, yes, she just turned 6 months, or is just turning 6 months. So, but she's trying. She's wanting to stand. So yeah, it won't be long. I think she'll be walking early. Is my prediction. I have a feeling we're all going to be chasing her around. Um, oh, hi Diane. So I had a funny story though. When we were visiting, there was a little girl there, and she was uh, loved loved the art. I don't know if because it was pink. Anyway, she kept playing with the ball. She kept calling it a ball, and she was rolling it and pulling it backwards, and then I untangled quite a bit of this yarn multiple times, but she was having so much fun playing with it and helping me. She's about 2 years old, and she was having lots of fun helping me. So I didn't want to discourage her. So she had fun playing with the yarn. Kept her very busy for quite a while, which was fun. So, anyways, so the poncho's in the works. The shawl is done. The sock is forever ongoing. Someday I'll have a pair of new socks. Um, what else? Oh, that little teeny tiny pumpkin up here. I made this, so I have to I have to put on a little, I got some cinnamon sticks. I'm just gonna cut a little piece and stick that in there for the little stem, and I've got some green ribbon that I'm gonna tie around. And so I'm gonna do a few of these. This was done, I don't have the knitting machine up here. I have got a well, you guys, I wanna call it vintage, but I have a feeling it's from the 1970s, which isn't really vintage, but it's older. Anyway, anyways, it is a little knitting machine, so it's tiny, very tiny around, and I just zipped up this in no time flat. This little knitting machine, you have to use, DK weight yarn in it or lighter. It doesn't like worsted. Worsted is it will do a little bit of worsted and then it just jams up and it gets stuck. So worsted doesn't work all that well in it. But so this is some Patton's Astra in their orange. I'm not sure. I don't know what the color but it's orange. It's either orange. It could be hot orange. I don't think it's neon orange, but it's orange. So, anyways, I just cranked. I don't know. The tube is maybe about that tall, and then I doubled it, so that made it about that tall, and then I stuffed it and just cinched up both ends and left a really long tail on it. So then I just went in every so often and just pulled the tail of yarn down through the center. So I have got, oh, where, okay, oh, yes, it is. Oh, I can't pull it. It's pulled too tight. Anyways, there's a string of yarn through here just to give it the textured look. Which is fine. I think I kind of like it that way. It looked just fine as it was, just as a little round orange. Pumpkin there without the strands to to dip it in there. Either way is fine. I'm gonna do some probably both ways, but if you're doing them, you definitely wanna make your pumpkin a little taller than you want because as you're pulling this strand of orange yarn, it's coming from the bottom, and then you just decide where you want it on your pumpkin, and then with the darning needle, poke it down and pull it through, and then really snug it tight so it just pulls your work in. So when you do that, it also squishes it. So it doesn't end up near as tall as it was when you started. But I think it's super cute. Pumpkins come in all shapes and sizes, so however it ends up, you'll be fine. So I think it's going to be super cute. I'm going to do a few more of them. I've got a knitted one on the needles that is not quite done. I did do a few more. I was knitting on it this afternoon, actually. So it is almost done. Let's see. Louise loves anything 70. Oh, okay, so Jocelyn's saying Louise loves anything 40 or older is vintage. The 70s is definitely vintage. I know, but I remember the 70s. I remember the 70s, barely, but I do, which then makes it so it should not count as vintage because then that's making me old too. Um, Let's see. Oh, so my brother was 6 months too young, and I was 12 months too young at 6 months. Oh my goodness. Okay. And my parents' childhood isn't vintage. More, yeah, more my grandparents. I know exactly. That's exactly. I think it depends on your own age what you consider vintage. What is just old and what is vintage? Vintage sounds vintage, super duper old, right? Anyways, so I think, oh, I've got one more thing to show you, and then we can talk a little bit about yarn festivals. Since it's fall, it seems to be yarn festival season, right? I know the Manitoba Fiber Festival was going on. I saw pictures of Diana and Jocelyn and Aaron. They were at Fiber Co's, Fiberweed Fiber Co's booth. Um, and I'm assuming Dawn from Codependent Knitters, she was out west. So I'm thinking she went to the same fiber festival, I am pretty sure. Um, and then we had Kitchener. We had our fiber festival here in Kitchener, which was fantastic. I went for a short little while, but it was long enough just to do a quick walk around and see everything I wanted to see and pick up some yarn. Oh, yeah, Dawn was totally that's right. Did you see Dawn and Marianne, Jocelyn? I saw that they had pottery mugs. I actually um didn't do a whole lot of looking on Instagram this weekend. I'll have to go back and see what everybody's purchases were from the fiber festivals. So this was last week's cast cast on project. It is cast on. It is cast on. This may get pulled out again. I am really not sure. This is a total trial and error. It's going to be that okay, what was the pattern name? Web Vest 2.0. So Web, WEB Vest 2.0. And it was the one that is like a poncho, but there's a neck opening and then there's one sleeve opening. You do some stitching up the side. And I yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure. I did some gauge and I did some math and I guessed basically is what I ended up doing. Um so I'm thinking I took an educated guess. I am going to I'm going to actually knit this a couple of inches and then measure it to be accurate to see how wide it is and see what and then just kind of hold it up and see what I like. I was trying to do all the math on paper and I was having a hard time visualizing it. So I thought I just need to start it. And if I don't like it, then I'll pull it out and I will just cast on less stitches. I think I'm pretty close with my gauge and the math because my gauge on here was way off. So I was just going by the finished measurements with what my gauge is. So we will see. This will be a bit of a work in progress. We will see how it ends up. But I still decided to stick with the 9 millimeter needle with the sock yarn. So I've cast on here. So you can see that the variegated blue is just some I ended up going with worsted weight yarn because it's what I had sitting around. And even though I'm knitting with worsted weight, I'm using such a big needle that I think I was fine to use worsted weight, because the sock yarn is making such big stitches. I think it'll be fine. Um, if it's not, I will know, and that will be another reason why I pull it out and try it again. But I think it's going to be fine. Um, I did the provisional cast on with the crochet hook, which I really like doing. That's my favorite way to do a provisional cast on. So what I will end up doing, so see, there's some gray and white stitches. If you look super, super close, you can see the actual real yarn. There's one row of it on there. And the blue variegated will get pulled out, and these live stitches are going to join. Once I get this knit so far, it joins, and you do Kitchener stitch it together. So fingers crossed, and we'll see how it works out. Um, okay, what's Justin say? And while I'd rather my grandma's stuff be the beginning of vintage sellers the next decade as the 80s stuff I barely remember. Oh, will be vintage. Yeah, that's scary. 80s stuff shouldn't be vintage yet. Dawn kind came right up to me. Oh, and introduced herself and then talked to me, which usually helps. Oh, as seeing Pearly, I don't know. Um, Okay. Most of the time till she talks to me. Okay. True, true. Yes, you need yes, because if somebody just walks up to you, you're not going to know until you hear them speak, for sure. Hey, Jude. Oh, 40 is not vintage. It's just young. Free and cheerful. Well, Brown the '80s was very cheerful. That's true. Anyways, I know. I know. I think we all get a little concerned when yeah, things that are close to in yeah, age-wise, right? We remember we don't wanna count those as vintage. Anyways, I guess it is what it is, isn't it? So, anyways, this is going to be fun. I'm hoping to get a little bit more done on this. So, next week when I come back, I can actually say for sure that I've got this started. I've got the right stitch count, and everything should be on track. That's my plan for this one. So, what did I do? Okay, so yes, so back to the Fiber Festival. I drove down and I got to see Cheryl's booth. I saw Cheryl and her mom for a little bit. Cheryl had a fantastic setup, lots of gorgeous bags. So Cheryl is my needlecrafts and lots her knit night bags. She has some of the baskets, I think she calls them, with handles and a divider in them. They're really nice. Like they would be good for a sweater. And then of course her divided sock bags were there and her divided shawl bags, and she had a couple of backpacks. As you guys probably know, because if you've watched the Fiber Friends, you'll know that she had a sewing machine breakdown like a week, 2 weeks before the show. Kind of as always, everything always happens at the worst times. So she was a little rushed once she actually got a new machine and everything. So, but she had tons of stock there, which was great. And I think the only thing she didn't get done was one of those bags that kind of zipped up and then popped open. I know she was going to have those, and I don't think she had any of those made. But Woolstock is coming up in October, so maybe she will have some there, or have them in her online shop, and then you guys can always order from there. So here's Miss Daisy. She's come to say hello. Probably more accurately, she's come to remind me that I have not fed her yet tonight. I'm sure that is what she is telling me here. Oh, geez, that is when the kids are talking about history stuff they learned at school when you lived during the event. It feels like yesterday it happened. I know. Very, very true. So I went to Woodstock. I saw Cheryl. I stopped around at some of the yarn dyers that we know. I saw Debbie from The Loving Path, Vicky from Songbird Fibers, Heather from Timber Yarns, um, Jolyn and Jillian from Little Red Mitten slash Leo and Roxy. And I think that was everybody vending that I knew that I stopped and saw. I saw a few podcast viewers there, so that was super fun to be able to meet you. A couple people that I have known for years and seen at fiber festivals, and a couple of new people that introduced themselves. So that was a lot of fun. And it was yeah, it was lots of fun. There was some new vendors there that I had not seen before, so that was always exciting just to check out what patterns they had, what their test knits were that were in their booths, and kits that they had made up. There was some vendors that were local. There was some that came from quite far away. So it was really, really fun. So I did a quick zip around. I had a few booths that I knew that I wanted to stop at, so I hit those up first. And one that I wanted to go to, um, was the embroidery booth. So this is Knitted Bliss. And she started out, I remember, quite a long time ago. She had a knitting blog, and I think that's where I first came across her. And so now what she's doing is she's still knitting, but she is doing embroidery on her knits. So she had a cute little pair of fingerless gloves that had embroidery work all done up the front of them, and then this is Christmas tree ornaments. Or I mean, I guess you could do little sweaters, and they're foam, and then you stitch on them, and then you can use them as ornaments. So that was really fun. So I wanted to pick that up, and So I will, you know, in my um optimistic view of things, I see myself doing this on a Friday night when I have all my knitting done for the week and I have my finishes already done and I have free time on the weekend. I see myself watching a Christmas movie and stitching these with a glass of hot chocolate, make my own little Hallmark movie in my living room as I embroider. We'll see. Hopefully that's what will happen, and I will get them up and somewhere, whether I hang them, like, in the window, if I put them on a tree, I have no idea where they're gonna go. I just wanted to make them. So let's see, yes, actually, Liz, that is very good, and that is something that I definitely do remind myself. Liz says, "Be glad you're getting older." That's right, because the other option is not something that we want to entertain, and as somebody who has had, a health scare in the past, I know, it is true, right? Getting, yes, getting older is what we want to do, isn't it? Oh, Sam, you sent me a picture. Okay. Oh, you're gonna be finished in a couple of hours? Fantastic. Okay, if I can find my phone, I will pull it up. Um Yes, your body and your teenager likes to remind you of getting old. Your mind is in denial. I know. I think that's how it goes for everybody, isn't it? So I got the embroidery kit and then I did get some yarn. I was really tempted to buy a sweater quantity of yarn. And I was kind of looking around at a couple of booths. There was Gaynor Homestead is is a local farm to us here, and, they had some natural, um oh, Daisy's shedding. They had some wool, it was natural, so it was white, and it was a sport weight, sport DK weight, and I almost bought that with the idea of dyeing it for a sweater. And in the end, I didn't because I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do. And plus, I know I'm going to see them in October at Woolstock. So I knew I didn't have to buy it now. I mean, I suppose there is always a chance that they could be sold out, but I was willing to take that risk. So, what I ended up buying for yarn was just kind of as I was walking around, I was just ready to leave, and there was a basket of yarn. And this yarn I bought with the purpose of dyeing it because the color is fine. It's it's okay. So it's like that blue and white kind of tweedy look to it, which isn't bad. Isn't bad. And I grabbed 1, 2, I think I have 5 skein I have 4 of this. Oh, yes. So, I have 4 of these, and then there's another one that was a light green. There was a couple of really dark, like a forest green, but I didn't grab those because, I wanted to overdye it. So, I wanted something that was light, a light base to start with that I could overdye. This yarn has no tags on it, so it looks like a worsted weight yarn. It is 100% wool. It is as rustic as you can get. This feels like a Briggs& and Little yarn, but the lanolin in it, oh my goodness, it just feels so wonderful. So my idea is, so I have 5 of these that I may dye and make into a vest, or maybe, Nikki, yes, it looks like Briggs& and Little, Regal, or Heritage. Now, you know what? I should have taken a picture. This lady's booth, maybe I can look her up online and maybe it'll tell me. It started with an M, and I don't know if it sounded she was talking to somebody else about this yarn, and it sounded almost like it was maybe another mill or a company name, possibly. I'm sure it started with an M. She also had she did ha was selling some Briggs& and Little, yarn or kits or something. But I grabbed this stuff and, and I thought, "Well, I'm gonna over dye it, and we'll see." But I love like, you can just feel just like when you're spinning with fleece that has the lanolin in it, it just makes your hands it's like the best, hand cream around. I love the feel of it. So that is what I'm gonna do, and I have plans to dye this probably this coming weekend or one night this week. I will maybe soak this and, and then dye. I'm not entirely sure what color, maybe a navy, something darker. We'll see what the green is. I would like to use them all in the same project, so if this one's a little darker, I don't know, we'll just go with it. We'll just blend it in and, uh, and see what we get. But I'm hoping that this will be a project that I start fairly soon. I don't want this yarn to sit in my stash for, like, a bazillion years. I would really like to just get it knit up, start it into something, and get it knit. But it feels lovely. If you love rustic yarn, you guys would love this. If you are not a fan of rustic yarn, you will not want to get anywhere near this. But yeah, it feels nice. I really, really like it. So I'm excited. This is just going to be a play around project and we'll see what it ends up like. But that was just a fun find. And you guys, these skeins were $5. So yes. Um, so what if I decide to make it into a project, like to do a vest with it, I might do that, or maybe I will. Okay, I don't know. I was just gonna say maybe I can make mitts out of them. But remember, I was saying last week, the week before, that I seem to have this really big issue with making mitts. I get the cuffs done, and then I never seem to go back to them. So I don't know if I should say that these would be mitts. I don't know about a hat because it might, being across here on your forehead, might be a little itchy. I might be able to handle it. It might be all right. Um, Probably not. I think it'd be like too itchy for a cowl. Even for me, I think it might be a sweater would be fine. And mitts, I could totally do mitts with these too. So anyways, that's that. So we'll have to think about what we can use these skeins for. And that's all of my purchases. I wasn't there very, very long, so I couldn't get too carried away because lots of times I have to go around and I look because I, well, maybe 50-50. I was going to say I don't always impulse buy, but that's not really true either. 'Cause I do some of that too. But lots of times I have to think about something, right? Because I see something that I like and then I have to think, what am I going to make with it? How many balls do I need? What color do I want? Do I want it? Do I want this? Do I want that? Do I want to pick something else? So I really like to go around, kind of get an idea of what I like, kind of the top things that I like, and then like to go sit, have a drink, and just think about it for a few minutes and then go back and pick up what I want. And but this time I didn't have time to do that. So I think that's why I didn't get the yarn from Gainer because I didn't have time to do that whole thinking thing. Like, did I want it or did I want something else? Because there was yarn, Gravity Knits, Gravity Yarn. I remember seeing her, I think 2 years ago at the Hamilton Fibers show and really liking her yarn. And I saw her yarn again in Kitchener, and she had a couple of colorways. They were tonals, and they were really, really nice. She had sock yarn and she had DK weight yarn, and they were really, really nice. So I was kind of stuck between the two, and I was short on time, so I thought I can always order it. I can always I know I'd have to pay for shipping, but anyways, I didn't get it. So I think I did pretty good, you guys. I did not come home with a ton of stuff. Um, but having said that, Woolstock is coming up in about a month, and I will probably come home with a bunch more stuff there. So I think that's good. A little bit here, I will come home with a ton at the next one probably, and it all balances out. So let's see. Oh, Justin says do a scarf. I could do a scarf. I could maybe do a scarf. Yeah, I know. Don't do a mitt. I know. I shouldn't see. That's what in my head. I want to do mitts, but yeah, I'm thinking I should not do mitts. You guys may have to remind me about that if I get in a weak moment and think I can do mitts this week. Please remind me I shouldn't. Let's see. I don't need. Yes, yes, yes. Do a scarf. I know if I start a mid, it'll be a cuff. I know apparently I must have a secret desire to do wrist warmers. I don't know because that's what I seem to end up with. I mean, I have finished lots of mitts in the past. I just these last few ones that I've started haven't got finished, but maybe they will. Maybe they will. Maybe the next round of vacation time will be finishing up a few things. Maybe we'll see. Who knows? They may get done eventually, right? We'll have to just wait and see. Okay, so let me see here. I think that is pretty much all I have to show you guys. So, what have you all been working on? Um, Anybody else close to a finish? Did anybody else buy yarn? Was there any other fiber festivals in your area that you went to? I'm already starting to plan for some do some traveling for next year, thinking of which shows I want to go to. I wanted, yeah, I kind of want to do a few more and make some vacation trips around them. So I'm going to start planning that this fall. Jocelyn is working on a sweater. She said that you guys, the first set of raglan increases for this woes are done. Yay, Jocelyn. Time for the second set. Getting closer to splitting for the sleeves. That like deserves like a happy dance. Sally's on the toe of her first Halloween sock. That's right. You said you were doing those for your nephew. And were they, was that a knit along? Somebody was doing a knit along, right? Um, I know, I do. I know. Knit City Calgary is high, high, high on my list. Oh, Louise, the Hamilton show is in March. So, as far as I know, it is now the first show of the season. It always used to be one that was in Toronto, but the third weekend in April for years and years and years, that was the Knitters Frolic. But I don't know as if they even did a show this year. I don't think they did. Um, but the one in Hamilton, Hamilton Fiber Forge. It is, I don't know, middle of March, second week of March, second, third week of March, I think. Um, so and it was not super big. It's not super big, but it was a nice show. It was one that you could easily do in a couple of hours. And it's not a whole day event, but unless it's gotten bigger. I didn't go this last March because my daughter was having a baby and I had a broken leg and couldn't walk. Yes. That's why I didn't go. So, fingers crossed, I am planning on going to that one this March because I will be walking. So, um, oh yes, Crazy Sock Lady, spooky make along, fun. Michigan. Yes, Mary, that is a possibility too because I would love to meet up with you guys again. Oh, Sam, did I find my phone? No, I dropped it on the phone on the floor. Hold on. If I can reach down and grab it. Okay, we'll see what Sam sent here. I know there's a lot. I would, in like the perfect world, I would love to go to one. I wonder if I could go to one once a month. I might have to seriously monitor my yarn buying if I did that. Have to spread it out a little bit over, yes, I definitely have to bring Doralyn back to that one. If we yes, I'll chat with her and see. Ooh, oh, Sam, this looks so good and it shows up so well. Okay, you guys, look at this. Sam's. Oh, except it's okay, you can see there, right? So they're reindeer, aren't they, Sam? Look at that. Aren't those fun? Fantastic job, Sam. That's really, really cute. Oh, Kim ordered Brooklyn Tweeds Shetland. Oh, nice. My daughter found a sweater she wants, but I finally finished the socks. I sent you a picture. Oh, yes, I saw those. Those looked great, Kim. Yes, that was good. Nikki, oh, Anchor's summer shirt have half done. Oh, but ripped out. Now I'm almost at the sleeve divide. Should be finished this week. Keeping up on my 2024 MCAL. It's a big project. I'm on the fifth chart. Fantastic, Nikki. That's excellent progress. And you're almost on your chop again. So should be finished this week. That is a good goal. Fantastic. So Nikki, yes, so the 2024 make along. So is this one that you are releasing, or is this the one are you test knitting this for Jocelyn? Because I know Jocelyn's doing one, right, in January? Very exciting. Very exciting. Oh, Sally's also doing fingerless gloves with cables for the Fiber Friends Challenge. Fantastic. Good stuff. Diana and I are doing a mystery knit along in January. Oh, okay. So Nikki's doing her own. Okay. Fun, fun, fun. So is this the big project? You hinted at this once before, I think. Okay. So can you tell us when does it really, oh, 2024. Okay, so it's not like a Christmas one then. So it's going to be like in a January-ish or later? Oh, it's a year-long make along. Okay. Okay, interesting. So I'm guessing like the first clue is it like a monthly clues? Okay, I'm just gonna stop talking about it because you maybe don't want to give too much info away about it yet. Liz is knitting the heel of her cable sock, but I put them down because I dropped a stitch. Hmm. Join the club, Liz. I know I'm gonna have to fix my drop stitch too. I'm glad I saw it and it didn't on mine and it didn't run down any farther, which I mean wouldn't have been the end of the world because I would have just picked them all back up. But you know, it's just one little thing that I don't need to fix, but apparently I do now. Oh, you haven't been to a fiber festival, Sam. Well, you will have to try to plan. Kitchener Woolstock is a good one to go to. Um, yeah, we've got lots of them around, so you have to maybe make some plans for next fiber season if you can't do the one in October. All right, everybody. I think we are at our hour mark. So this has been super fun. Thanks for voting for the teal, you guys. I'm really excited to wind this up, find some needles, cast it on, and just sit and do some seed stitch. I think it'll be perfect. Um, just perfect TV watching and knitting. So I know I'm not going to say the F word, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see what we get to. All right, everybody. Well, I think I am going to finish up here because I've got some things I've got to do. I've got to work on this baby poncho because I want to have it done this week. I want to work on last week's top because it's the perfect weather because it's like a poncho-y thingy. So I can start wearing it. So I want to get some work done on that and I want to cast on the hat. So everybody have a fantastic week. And I will chat with you all again next Monday. So happy knitting, everybody. Good night.